So what are these greenhouse gases that help keep our Earth nice and toasty? So here are actual greenhouse gases. Now the number one greenhouse gas that's listed on here, that we have, is actually not listed on here. The number one greenhouse gas is actually water vapor. It is not considered a problematic greenhouse gas. These are considered problematic ones. But the number one greenhouse gas we have is water vapor. And this is the clouds. It is also humidity. If we go back up here, you can see a lot of this is absorbed by the clouds. Over here, it gets absorbed into the clouds. So the clouds and water vapor have a huge contribution to the greenhouse effect that we have on our planet and the greenhouse gases. So the number, I forgot to write the number one. The number one greenhouse gas is water vapor, and it can be good in moderation. The number two greenhouse gas, the one that you always hear about, this is carbon dioxide, or CO2. And this is what we talk about this one because humans have recently altered the CO2 concentration, or the CO2 levels. Let's just stick with the CO2 levels. And then the third one I want to talk about in this chapter is methane, aka natural gas. And I'm also talking about this one because humans have also recently altered methane, I believe, CH4, have altered our methane levels. And it's by when you, I should say this, boop, boop, boop. When you increase greenhouse gases, the earth warms up. And then when you decrease greenhouse gases, the earth cools. So if we were to look at what's happened throughout history, we would see that we've had an increase and decrease of our greenhouse gases since the dawn of our planet. So since we know that the atmosphere is a global concern, what sort of causes air pollution? What is air pollution? Well, pollution, in case I haven't mentioned this before, pollution, a general definition of pollution is adding materials to a system. So you're adding more materials than it really has. So it's extra stuff than normal, or more stuff than normal. So that is what pollution is. Whether we're talking about soil pollution or water pollution or air pollution, pollution is adding more materials than the environment normally has. So when it comes to air pollution and atmospheric pollution, there are actually two different broad categories we have. And the first one we're going to talk about is natural air pollution. Natural air pollution, this is just earth processes that put extra stuff in the atmosphere. So this is something that has happened since the creation of the planet. It will continue to happen no matter what is on the planet. So this is just things the Earth does. So examples of this, you can see we've got volcanic eruptions. They put a lot of stuff into the atmosphere. See all this steam coming off here? Well, there's lots of stuff in that steam, and it's being put into the atmosphere. So volcanic eruptions really put extra materials into the atmosphere. That's sort of the more violent, disruptive, immediate impact type of natural pollution. But even dust storms can be a natural pollutant. Sure, humans can exacerbate dust storms, but there are natural dust storms that are out there. They even have special names throughout the planet. Different cultures call them different things. The example, this illustration here is actually showing sand from the Sahara Desert. I cannot spell Sahara. Let's spell Sahara right. Sahara Desert. I just cannot spell desert. Is being blown across the Atlantic Ocean. This happens all the time. Soil and sand is always being blown from Africa over to North America. That even affects our sunsets sometimes. I know we've had some sunsets that are very, very colorful, and that's because of the sand and soil particles in the atmosphere from Africa. So in case you can't actually see what's happening here, here's Africa. Here's Morocco. This is Morocco. Here's Spain and Portugal. So there's Europe. And then we can actually see in the atmosphere soil particles from the Sahara being blown across the ocean. So those are natural air pollution sources. So it's not like humans are the only ones that pollute the air. The earth also does pollution as well. And the Earth's natural pollution also affects us. So it's the natural air pollution and what we would call the anthropogenic air pollution that causes all the air issues we're dealing with today. So I just called it anthropogenic pollution. And this is actually human sourced pollution. So whether we're dealing with soil pollution, water pollution, or air pollution, if it's anthropogenic, that means it's human sourced. Anthro actually means human. So if you ever study anthropology, you're studying humans, and genic means it was generated by humans. So anthropogenic means it's human-generated pollution. And we can put these into sort of two types of categories. We have our primary pollutants, and this is where the pollutant is directly released into the atmosphere. If we were to If we were to compare it to our water pollution, it would be similar to point source pollution. So it's a pollutant that's released directly into the atmosphere. So it's kind of like a point source. Because you can point to where this primary pollutant is coming from. You say, oh, that sulfur dioxide came from that power plant right there. And then we have secondary pollutants. And these are actually pollutants that are formed by interactions with the atmosphere. So what I mean by this is you actually get a chemical transformation with something that is already in the atmosphere. So oftentimes it's you have your primary pollutant plus oftentimes it's water, H2O, and then you'll get your secondary pollutant. And this is much harder to identify the source of because it was put into the atmosphere and then it was transformed somewhere in the atmosphere. So this would be similar to non-point source. So in this this drawing here, we can see our primary pollutants that can then get us our secondary pollutants. So this would be our point source ones, and this would be our non-point source. Because you can't say, oh, this sulfuric acid came from that factory. Nope. But you can say, hey, this sulfur dioxide came from that factory. This organic compound came from this factory. But ozone, what? Where did that come from? You can't easily and directly say exactly where it came from. So we're going to go through the different categories of air pollution that we have, and we can look through which ones are primary pollutants and which ones are secondary pollutants. So the next several videos are going to be on the different types of air pollution we have out there.